In today's video, I want to share with you how I earned $90,000 in one day as a 23-year-old. I was 23 years old, I did one day worth of work, and I got $90,000 as a result. Let me explain how that happened. So here's how it happened. I was setting up an event and we were putting out hundreds of chairs, and next door was a little event with only about 25, 30 chairs. I was asking for more chairs and putting more chairs into the room because we were expecting lots of people to show up. I was taking chairs out of his room because he was expecting his numbers to be lower than expected. And he came up to me and he said, "How much money did you spend to get people to show up to your event?" And I gave him our advertising budget. And he said, "We spent more than you. How come I've got a fraction of the number of people showing up for my event?" So I asked him to show me the ad that he ran in the newspaper. When I looked at the ad, I said, "It's obvious why you've got a terrible show up, because that ad is terrible." So I said, "It's obvious why you didn't get many people showing up, because your ad breaks a serious rule that means that you will never get a high response to the ad." So he said, "Can you fix it for me? How much would it cost to hire you?" And I said, "Rather than giving you a day rate, why don't I do the ad for free and I'll redo it. And then whatever the uplift is over the next 6 months, pay me 10% of the uplift as my performance fee." So it only took me one day to redo the ad. I fixed the problem that I saw in his ad. They then ran that ad over the next 6 months and they got $900,000 worth of additional uplift above and beyond what they were expecting. And I earned $90,000 as my commission for fixing that ad. Now, let's explain what happened, and I'm going to share with you the two headlines, what went wrong with his ad, and I'm going to share you exactly what I changed it to. Before I share with you that, I want to share with you the fundamental principles as to what went wrong and why I was able to fix it so quickly. Now, by the way, I still see this exact same mistake being made every single day in the digital environment. It hasn't changed at all in the last 25 years. So let's get into explaining it. The first thing I want you to know is that there are two different types of buyers. There are buyers who have dormant frustrations, and then there are active buyers who have active needs and wants. So dormant frustrations, or dormant buyers as we'll call them, dormant buyers, people who have latent frustrations, it's under the surface. These are people who are what's called problem aware. They're frustrated about something, but they haven't yet considered a solution. Then the active buyers are people who are actively looking for a solution. They're looking for a way to fix their problem. They're looking for an outcome. They're looking for something to buy. Now, most entrepreneurs and marketers think that it would be better to target active buyers rather than dormant buyers. Of course, they think if someone's actively buying, that would be the best kind of person to talk to. But I want to explain why that's wrong for two main reasons. Main reason number one is that when someone is active, they have already formulated a criteria. They already have solutions in mind. They already have their budget in mind. They ask the types of questions that are very frustrated for you as a business to answer, because essentially they've already got a rigid perspective on how they're going to solve the problem. So for example, let's say someone is actively looking to buy a gym membership and they actively want to get CrossFit classes. They're going to ask the question, do you have CrossFit classes? Now, you might have something very similar to CrossFit classes, or you might have something that's even better and safer for them as a newbie than CrossFit classes, but they've got a rigid mindset that they have to have a gym that offers CrossFit classes. They also might have a budget. They might say, "Are you $59 per month or less?" And if you're $79, they might say, "Well, that's it. You're ruled out because you don't fit my budget that I already have in mind." So people who are actively shopping, these are frustrating people to deal with because they're so rigid with their criteria. They've already got all of that in mind, and unless you meet their criteria, they pretty much rule you out very quickly. The second reason why you want to go for the dormant rather than the active is there's just so many more of them. Imagine this. Imagine that you go to Centre Court at Wimbledon and there's 20,000 people around you, and you ask the question, who here is currently looking for a business coach? Now, probably, 50 or 100 hands go up. But imagine if you ask this question, who here owns a business and you're frustrated with your current level of growth? Probably thousands of people would put their hand up. So the number of people who have a frustration massively outnumbers the number of people who are currently actively searching for a solution. In fact, there are some numbers around this. Recently, they discovered that 68% of British people are unhappy with their current level of fitness and wish that their fitness could improve, but less than 20% of people intend on joining a gym in the year ahead. So a much smaller portion of people are actively searching for something relative to the number of people who are experiencing the frustration. This is why it's better to go to frustration aware or problem aware as opposed to solution aware. So active, dormant, So we have an active buyer, we have a dormant buyer. Here's the cool thing. If your business is the business that provides people with a light bulb moment, an insight, right? Some sort of clarity, you are the business that moves them from dormant to active. And then all of a sudden you are the business to beat. You're the only business that's been able to help people to get a little bit of illumination, a little bit of clarity. And therefore they will immediately see you as the main business they want to buy from. And unless they see something better very, very rapidly, they're going to buy from you. So being the company that moves someone from dormant to active through an insight, through some clarity, is the key to massively opening up the market. Now let's talk about that headline that I was talking about earlier. So the newspaper headline that I saw the guy had run was, "We are Brisbane's most awarded financial planning firm." And it listed out all the awards that they had won. It listed how long they had been in business. It listed all the things they'd done for their clients, the solutions that they offered, the managed funds that they could provide. All of that was listed on that ad. And then they invited people to come and meet with them at the event. Now that is only going to appeal for someone who is actively searching for a financial planner. If you're actively in the market for a financial planner, then you care about the awards and the solutions and the funds and all of that sort of stuff. So here's what I changed it to. I did a frustration headline. I connected with the frustration, and the headline was, "Feeling crabby watching your investments move sideways." And I put a little picture of a crab with a $10 note, and I said, "Isn't it frustrating when you're investing every single month but you're not getting gains? Isn't it frustrating when you open the mail expecting to see that your financial assets have improved but there's been no gains in the last 90 days?" I said, that's frustrating, and if you'd like to talk to a financial planner about how to get higher performing portfolio of assets, we are Brisbane's most awarded financial planner. So I basically just front ran the ad with a frustration headline and then invited people to go and have a conversation with the financial planner. So simply by connecting with people's frustrations first and then offering a solution, I massively expanded the number of people who were interested. In Brisbane at the time, there were way more people who were feeling frustrated that their investments were moving sideways, as opposed to actively searching for Brisbane's most awarded financial planning firm. So by making a frustration headline, I expanded the pie of people who were going to be interested. As a result of expanding that pie, just by changing that headline, we got $900,000 worth of additional business into that firm, and I got paid $90,000 for 1 day worth of work. Now, what I'd like you to do is to apply this to your business. How could you connect with people's frustration? How could you go upstream to the bigger dormant market as opposed to downstream to the active market? What things would you need to talk about or discuss with people to connect with where they are today, which is frustrated, annoyed, dissatisfied, as opposed to where you want them to be, which is actively looking for a solution? So I want you to think, how would you reorientate your marketing to the dormant frustrations as opposed to the active desires? Now, what you can do if you really want to apply this is use ScoreApp.com to set up an online assessment based upon a frustration. Now, the way that you're going to do this is you're going to set up a landing page on ScoreApp, and the hook headline that you're going to use is called a frustration headline. You're going to say something like, "Feeling frustrated that blank is happening." Right? Feeling frustrated that you're experiencing blank, whatever that is for your business. So it could be feeling frustrated that you're not dating the right people, feeling frustrated that you're not getting the fitness results that you want, feeling frustrated that you've put on weight since Christmas, feeling frustrated that your business keeps getting cyber attacked, feeling frustrated that you do not experience the profit margins that you think you should. So any of those things that your customer might be feeling frustrated about, you're going to put that in the hook. And then you're going to have answer 15 questions to find out why it's happening and how to fix it. From there, you're going to have the landing page. You're going to ask them 15 questions to diagnose what's going on. You're going to tell them what's going on, give them some insights, and give them the next steps as to how they can get in touch with you in order to outsource that solution to your company. So you're going to be the company that gives them the light bulb moment that moves them from dormant to active. I hope that's been helpful. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe to this channel. I'm putting out regular videos on this channel, and it's going to help you with your marketing. So if you want to get better performance marketing, subscribe here. I'm going to give you lots more in the coming weeks and months, and I look forward to seeing you soon. All the best. Quick interruption. If you haven't yet done so, get yourself a ScoreApp account. A ScoreApp account is free to get started. You've got 150 templates that adhere to all of these principles that we're talking about, and you can then get it set up, and then once you've tested it, you can scale it up from there. It's a great thing, and you'll also get this book here, Scorecard Marketing, which you'll be able to download with your free account.